Sam Webb here on a special edition of the Michigan Insider, live from spring practice, the final spring practice before Saturday's spring game with Michigan running backs coach Fred Jackson. Freddie J, how you doing?
Feels great. I'm really excited about these last couple of days because I think they can get a lot better in 2 days.
All right, so Fred, I'm going to ask you a very broad question.
Okay.
The offensive philosophy, coordinator and philosophy changes. How does that change things for the running backs?
I really like what we're doing right now because we've put in a couple plays that I think is the strengths of this offensive line and the offensive backs, and some of the inside zones and outside zones that we're running, I think is really going to help us. And I like Coach Nussmeier's approach to everything and how he want to run the football and how he understands that the consistency with what we do daily is so important. So I feel really good about it.
All right, so Coach, you are a guy who has, coached in many different systems, many different backs. One of the consistent things with the backs was they always blocked. But in talking to the guys last year, they say, man, it's just a lot. It's a lot to learn. They're trying to do a lot offensively. As the season went on, you guys kind of cut some things down. One of the things Coach Nussmeier talked about is refinement, doing a few things well, simplifying things for the players. Have you seen that have a positive impact on your players, not only running the football but also in blocking?
Yes, it's really you can really notice it because if you're not doing a lot of things and seeing a lot of different looks, the guys are more consistent on what the reads are, how to go from point A to point B with protection. So just by not having a ton of protections and not having a lot of different runs, I think just the consistency of doing things over and over again allows them to be better at what we're doing. And as we get into the end of the spring practice, I can see a lot of progress in the kids from last fall.
All right, so Coach, one of the guys we saw a lot of progress from just January until the start of the spring, physically, Derek Green, just a different looking guy as far as his physique is concerned. Has he been a different looking guy running the ball for you?
Yes, he has. When you think about his speed, he always could run, but now you can see flashes of great speed out of the kid. And what I can see, too, is a man who has more confidence because he's lighter. He's running with more conviction. He's running with more ability to make tight cuts. And I think right now, because he lost the weight, it's going to make him a tremendous help to us this fall.
All right, now we got a chance to see a little more Devion later in the season. Has he been able to carry over that late season, success to the spring?
Yes, he has, and he's a guy who I think you're going to really like because of his toughness, his physicality, the things that he's doing right now. It's sort of reminded me of the way that some of the big backs I've had in the past be physical about things, and he's showing that every day.
Now, Coach, I don't know if you can share this with us, or even if a pecking order has developed, but have any of your guys start to separate themselves from the pack as the number one guy or the number two guy yet?
Sort of. I mean, I don't want to say the exact order, but okay. I've had three guys play really well this spring, and including Justice Hayes. And right now, they're all right there. If I had to start a guy, I know I would have to list a guy, but I don't want to do it right now. But I would say right now, if we had to play a game, I would play three guys based on what we had this spring because they've all earned it.
What has Justice done well?
I tell you, he's done a tremendous job in scrimmages, and that means a lot to me. Had big runs. Matter of fact, he had a 55-yard run last week in the scrimmage. He's doing a lot better job in pass protecting. He has a knowledge that some of the younger guys don't have about anticipation in his reads. He's pressing the line a lot better than he did a year ago, so he's going to be a factor.
All right, so you get a new kid over there. We're talking to Michigan running backs coach Fred Jackson here on the Michigan Insider on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, online at WTKA.com. Ross Douglas in the mix for you now. So what have you seen from Ross in these few weeks that you've had him?
He's really improved. He's not a very big guy. He's about 185 pounds. But for what he weighs and his speed, he's got excellent speed. You never know how he'll be able to help you during the fall. But, I'm very impressed with what he's done so far. And the guy you sort of forget about, the kid who's injured, Drake Johnson, who I know can do some of these things at a high level. So I'm excited about him coming back because he's been training but not in contact. And I can see a lot of things out of him that I really like.
All right, so, Coach, a guy who, maybe he's a tight end, H-back, fullback, maybe you hand it to him as a tailback from time to time. I've heard all these things about Wyatt Shellman. how much have you had your hands on Wyatt at all? If at all this spring? I know he's doing a lot of different things.
I don't think Wyatt knows who his coach is. Really, when you think about it, Wyatt played tailback for me. He went back and played H-back for Coach Ferrigno. Now he's playing both positions, tailback and H-back. In his last couple of practices, we're going to put him at some fullback from the H position. So he played a lot of positions. We're trying to find out what the best position is for him. But yet and still, we know he's a good enough athlete to be able to do something to help us. So we're trying to move him around until we find a home for him.
When obviously he's a kid who athletically is extremely talented. When you've watched him, what in particular, in any particular plays or any particular scrimmages where he's, that was really impressive. Was it a run or a block or a catch?
There's a couple of things. One is he's got very good hands, run good routes. Another thing is, as a blocker, he can cover you up. So that's been good. His runs have been, like a big back run, but not necessarily like Derek or Devion. But, he's got ability. You just got to find out what his niche is. And I feel right now it's primarily going to be a blocker and receiver.
All right. Before we move on and talk about the men's experience in the women's academy, I wonder, do you ever see, another kid who's moved around a lot is Norfleet. Do you ever see any of him anymore?
Yes, I tell you what, Dennis, he's a weapon. You got to look at it that way. He can run the football, great quickness. He can show that in special teams. Everybody can see that in terms of special teams. But yet and still, what you find out, this young man is very eager to learn. He can catch the football out of the backfield or being from a receiver position. And we're going to do some things with him both in the backfield and from the receiving position. So I've had an opportunity to be with him. I see that the kid's got stronger. He's quick as a cat. And I'm excited for Dennis because Dennis is a guy who can make a difference. It may not be an every down guy, but he's a guy who can do things to help you win a football game.
Well, Fred, the men's experience, the women's academy, those are coming up the first weekend in June. And, every year without fail, one of the favorite stations that they say they go to is the one that's run by Fred Jackson. So what is it that you do? What can people, the fans, the men and women, expect when they come by Fred Jackson's station?
The first thing we're going to teach let's go women first. We teach them ball security. Men, we try to teach them a little toughness. A lot of these women are beginning to show me a little bit more skill than some of the men I have in these camps. So I'm so excited with the women. But the men, they think they can play. They thought they could play. And sometimes when I watch them, I know they couldn't play. The women, they have not played, but some of them have a lot of skill. So I'm very excited with those. And another thing, in teaching them, a lot of them, you'd like to see if they can catch footballs, and women catch the balls as well as men.